Hi friends, welcome to, I think this is part 3 of bead crochet. We're doing double crochets today. Here is, there's going to be 2 methods to do this. It's very similar to the single crochet one, so if you missed it, go ahead and look at the previous part 1 and part 2. But this one is double crochet. So I have my little swatch going. I have an eye size hook, and I am ready to chain and turn. So for myself, I just like to chain 1 and turn. I'm going to double crochet in the first stitch, and now I'm going to show you a little bit about the double crochet, adding the bead with the bring up bead bub. Actually, no, this is the splice it on with the smaller hook. So I'm going to pull up a loop. Now there's lots of different places where you could put this bead. So let's talk about this. So as we're doing the double crochet, we can yarn over, insert the hook, yarn over, pull up a loop. We can put the bead here, or we can put the bead here. Okay, so let's go ahead and do the first one first. So we're going to pull up a loop right here. We'll leave the yarn over and the other loop on our hook. Let's grab this green one right here. With my smaller hook that fits through the eye of the bead and the bead that fits through 2 thicknesses of the yarn, then we will go ahead and yarn over and pull through 2 and yarn over and pull through 2. And that puts the bead at the bottom half of the stitch. So none of those are shown here, but you'll see on the next example also. Just going to go ahead and double crochet in the next stitch. Now also, this is on the right side of the fabric, so it doesn't show up super well on the back side of the fabric. It shows up really well on the front side of the fabric when you do this method. We could bead crochet every stitch, but just for argument's sake and giving us some room, we're going to go ahead and do this. So yarn over and pull through 2, and then we could put the bead here if we wanted. So let's go ahead and pick up a bright yellow one. Easier said than done. Put my eye hook a little bit to the side, push that onto the yarn, put the eye hook back in, yarn over and pull through. So you can see how different it looks where the bead is at the bottom of the stitch here and it's at the top of the stitch here. You can see on all of these examples down here, it's all at the top of the stitch. The good thing about this method is that you can pick up any color of bead you want. You can add bead wherever you want, add a color wherever you want. You don't have to think about it ahead of time. Oh, what order am I going to place my colors? Or if I mess up the order, does that mess things up? Also, can you put 2 beads on the same stitch? Sure, it's going to be crowded, but we absolutely can do that. So let's go ahead and grab this dark blue one here that I just dropped. Put it on the, oh, I grabbed 2. Didn't mean to do that. Grab 1. Put it on the bottom half of the stitch. Yarn over, pull through 2. Then we can add another bead to the second half of the stitch. It's going to be crowded, but yes, we can do it. We can also always use different size beads. Look how much taller that is. So you can put 2 beads on the same stitch. So it's a little crowded, but sure, it can be done. And the whole point of these big craft beads and the worsted weight yarn and the eye size hook is just so that you can see it better. But go ahead and experiment and have fun with this. Make your beads smaller, make your yarn smaller, make your hook smaller. But there's how to add a bead on while you're stitching with a smaller hook. You can add it to the bottom half of the stitch. You can add it to the top half of the stitch, or you can do both. And those look best on the right side of the fabric. Okay, and then here I just did a wrong side row, so you can experiment with that and have lots of fun. Now here's another method. Now this is the pre-strung method, and just like the previous one, you can add the bead to the bottom half of the stitch or the top half of the stitch, and then as you saw in the previous example, we can add it to both. So I have pre-strung beads here. So just like if you saw the single crochet video, to string beads on, you need a yarn needle or a needle that matches the gauge of the yarn and the diameter of the hole of the beads, and you'll just slide it on and pull it through, okay? The smaller the yarn, then the smaller the needle you're going to need, and the smaller the beads can be, okay? All right, so once we have all of our beads pre-strung, or at least all of the beads for that row strung, because then you can cut and like string some more if you want. Let's get the eye size hook. So we can go ahead and put these on the right side of the fabric. So I'm going to bring up bead, B-U-B. So I can, if I want them on the wrong side of the fabric, look at how it goes on the wrong side of the fabric. If I go to the far side, it's going to be on the wrong side of the fabric here. So what we can do is either just single crochet across and then put the beads on the next row so they end up on the front, or we could have reversible beads on both sides by beading every row, and they just kind of will show up on every other row. Or can we place beads all on this side? So what we would do is yarn over in front, and that's still going to push it to the back. So it looks like there's really no satisfactory way to do this, getting the beads on the right side of the fabric when they are pre-strung, because you reach to the far side of the bead and do this, complete the stitch. So another way we could do this is you could pre-string the beads for the wrong side of the fabric, and you could hook on the beads on the right side of the fabric, like we just showed in the previous example. So generally, when you pre-string the beads, they show up best on the back. When you bring when you hook on the beads, then they show up really well on the front of the fabric. Okay, so there's one on the back. And let's finish the row and turn. Okay, so they show up well on the back. If you want them reversible to whichever side, the point is whatever side you're working, if you're just going to pre-string them and crochet over them, they're going to show up on the back. If you are going to pre-string them, then you might want to do every other row so that, like, you can see this is the back side of a stitch here, and this is the front side. So the front side of the stitch worked when I hooked on the bead, and on the wrong side, when you just pre-strung the beads and just crocheted with them on there, reaching to the far side of the bead, then they show up on the back. Okay, so let's just do just a little bit more here. I want to show you also real quick before we go that the bead can be placed. So if we are pre-stringing them and just double crocheting along, then you know that the bead is going to show up on the back. And when we are ready to place a bead to pop up on the back, we can do lots of different methods. We can pull up the bead and then yarn over and insert. Okay, and that kind of floats there in between the stitches. Or we can bring up the bead. We can yarn over, pull up a loop, bring up the bead, yarn over, pull through two, yarn over, pull through two. Or we can, let's just do a regular double crochet, or we can insert the hook, yarn over, pull through two, then bring up the bead, B-U-B, yarn over and pull through two. Okay, and then let's just do one regular double crochet. So if you remember the order that we just did, we had done one where we brought up the bead before we yarned over and started the stitch. That's this white one. This orange one is where we yarned over, pulled up a loop, and then yarned over and pulled through the bead. And then this was, we yarned over and pulled through two, and then yarned over and pulled through with the bead. Okay, so they pop up at little different spots. So if you want them random, you can do them random. If you want them the same, do it the same, however you choose to do it. So swatching is really helpful. And then make a note to yourself how you did it in case you need to put down your work and pick it back up later so that you know exactly, did I pre-string these beads? Did I hook onto those beads? Did I put them under the first yarn over? Did I put them under the second yarn over pull through? So there's a couple different methods to add beads to your double crochet. I hope you have a great day, and I'll see you next time. So if you liked this video, here's another one that's similar that you might also enjoy. And here is the video, the last video that was uploaded in case you missed it. Everyone, please like and subscribe.